I would like to first welcome you, respected guests, to our dialogue dinner. On behalf of the organizing committee, I hope that you enjoyed the reception and the conversation so far. I guess you guys really like it. You guys haven't stopped, but it's good. We have to have conversation. I believe tonight's event is a great venue to get to know the significant members of our local community. This is our 4th annual Dialogue Friendship Dinner organized by the Richmond chapter of ADFA and Rumi Forum. My name is Nahid, and I grew up in Henrico County. And I'm now studying at George Washington University. I'm a volunteer at ADFA Fairfax chapter, and I'm your MC tonight. First, I'd like to share our deep sorrow for our friend Virginia State Senator Craig Deeds, who was the keynote speaker at our last year dialogue dinner at Charlottesville. We learned today that Senator Deeds' condition improved to fair. We are all praying for Senator Deeds and his family at this very difficult time. As our governor, McDonald, called this incident utterly heartbreaking, we all feel the pain of Deeds' family and hope that Senator Deeds will come back to serve us again. Before starting the program, I would like to recognize some of our guests who have been graciously serving our community. Please join me in recognizing these names. Virginia State Delegate Dolores McQueen, Virginia State Delegate Joe Morrissey, Commissioner at the Virginia State Corporation Commission, Mark Christie, Richmond Police Chief Ray Tarasovich, Henrico Commonwealth Attorney Shannon Taylor, Henrico Deputy Manager Jane Crowley, VCU Government Dean Niraj Verma, FBI Special Agent in Charge Jeff Mazonek, Executive Director of Global Education Office at GW, McKenna Brown. Now, please let me introduce Dr. Özbulut for the opening remarks. Professor Özbulut is a faculty member at the University of Virginia and is also our research coordinator at Rumi Forum in Charlottesville. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Özbulut.
Thank you, Nate. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and dear friends, it is my pleasure and honor to be with you tonight and warmly welcome you to annual Peace and Dialogue Dinner that is jointly organized by the Rumi Forum and American Turkish Friendship Association. First of all, as Knight mentioned, we are all deeply saddened by the tragic news yesterday morning involving State Senator Craig Deeds. Senator Deeds has served his area and the Commonwealth for many years in an outstanding manner. We were privileged to host him as keynote speaker in our last Rumi Forum event in Charlottesville, and Senator Deeds is an exceptional public servant and strongly committed to the people of Virginia. Our thoughts and prayer are with the Deeds family, and we wish Senator Deeds a speedy and complete recovery. So over the past years, the annual Peace and Dialogue Dinners have become a trademark and one of the most significant dialogue gatherings in a number of states in Mid-Atlantic region, including Virginia. So just last week in Virginia, Peace and Dialogue Dinners were held in Blacksburg, Charlottesville, and the Virginia Beach. And it is a great pleasure to be with you tonight in our capital for a meaningful dialogue gathering. So for myself and my friends who put together this great event tonight, dialogue is not a superfluous endeavor, but it is an imperative. As Mr. Fethullah Gülen, who is the honorary president of the Rumi Forum, describes, dialogue is an endeavor to get to know each other and a common search for solutions to our shared problems by accepting everyone in their own position. So dialogue offers an opportunity to better understand our fellow human being, irrespective of faith, race, color, ethnicity, or tradition, and work with them toward shared goals. So I believe engaging in dialogue is inherently valuable. And when I am asked about why I involve or why I engage in dialogue, I tell a parable. So let me share this parable with you tonight. So this is a parable. Do not focus on the authenticity of the story, but please focus on the message. So for many years, Abraham called his people to the truth and to the right path. However, Nimrod, the cruel king of the time, decided casting Abraham into fire. He ordered men and women, young and old, in all his province to bring wood with him 40 days. All the woods were thrown into a great furnace and set afire. The flame shoot up to the skies, and all the animals and the people were afraid, so afraid of the fire. The plan was to place Abraham in a catapult and slinging him into the fire. So meanwhile, an ant was rushing toward the bonfire while carrying a drop of water at his mouth. Another ant saw him and asked, "Where are you going in such a rush?" The ant who was rushing toward the fire held the drop of the water with his hands and replied, "Haven't you heard about it? Nimrod is planning to cast Abraham into fire. I am carrying water to the bonfire." The other ant started laughing and told him, "Don't you know how big is the fire? Haven't you looked at it? It is huge. What can your drop of water do for it?" The ant that carries a drop of water to the fire said, "It's okay. It is okay. At least that will make my stand clear. That will make my position clear. And I thank and I congratulate each and every one of you for supporting this kind of dialogue activities and taking your part in making our community a better place." Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was a really interesting story. I want to hear more of it, but we don't have that much time. Okay, so thank you very much. And now it's time to learn more about Rumi Forum's mission and the vision that Rumi Forum has for the future. The following, we're going to have a 5-minute video presentation, and it will be a short summary of Rumi Forum, its mission, and its vision. View it wisely. A brief version of this video. I hope you learned a lot about Rumi Forum. And before the dinner, I would like to invite our last speaker before the dinner, Mr. Telbisoğlu, who is the program director at Rumi Forum. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Telbisoğlu.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me offer my sympathies and prayers to Senator Dietz and his family. I was educated in Charlottesville, so Charlottesville matters to me a lot, so that event matters to me personally more in that sense. And of course, it is my honor to welcome you to this annual Peace and Dialogue Dinner organized by Rumi Forum and ATFA. I want to thank our volunteers for putting together this wonderful event. It is through their fine efforts that such evenings come about that allows us to enjoy each other's company and to make new friends. And I also want to thank you all for joining us here tonight. Of course, the essence of Rumi Forum and the essence of this evening is to bring people together to overcome our ignorance and to build bridges and friendships. As we come together to learn from each other and respect our differences, we will create an opportunity to promote understanding, to prevent misinterpretation, to promote flexibility against rigidity, and above all, to promote tolerance to overcome bigotry. It is not possible to talk about common ideas or collective consciousness in communities where individuals do not look upon one another with tolerance, or in communities where the spirit of forbearance has not become fully entrenched. In such a society, ideas will devour one another in the web of conflict, and the work of thinkers will be futile. Like the Sufi philosopher, poet Mevlana Rumi, who is our namesake, and whose reach embraced all humanity as personified by his message that, "Come, whoever you are, come." We welcome everyone who has a desire to explore the other in the spirit of mutual respect and tolerance. These gatherings are also an opportunity to create solidarity, brotherhood, and harmony, a peaceful atmosphere that is required for the progress of society very much depends on these qualities. And really, beyond the concept of getting to knowing one another and breaking our close circles, the next step is working together for a better community. Along with acknowledging our differences, this common goal will assist us in achieving the art of living together peacefully. I'm hoping we can take this further together for future collaboration and cooperation. And I don't want to get in between your dinner and you, so I'll cut it short with a quote from our honorary president, Fethullah Gülen, who believes that peace should characterize the basis of all societal relations. He said, "Be so tolerant that your heart becomes wide like the ocean. Become inspired with faith and love for others. Offer a hand to those in trouble and be concerned about everyone." Thank you and have a nice and wonderful evening.
We thank you very much for your informative speech. Now it's time to have our dinner. We've all been waiting for the dinner. I know, okay. Please use this opportunity to talk with your fellow table mates and cooperate and help the spirit of tonight's program. Thank you very much. Enjoy your dinner. I hope that you enjoyed the delicious dinner and the great hospitality here at Hilton Hotel. If I could please get your attention. Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed the delicious dinner and also the great hospitality here at the Hilton Hotel. I strongly believe that the staff here at Hilton Hotel truly deserve an appreciation. Let's give them a big round of applause. We will continue our program with Judge Mark Christie, who is a commissioner at Virginia State Corporation Commission. Judge Christie was educated at Wake Forest University and the Georgetown University Law Center. He was elected to the State Corporation Commission by the General Assembly in 2004, and he was re-elected to a second six-year in 2010. He served as the president of the Mid-Atlantic Conference of Regulatory Commissioners from 2009 to 2010. He is on the adjunct faculties at the University of Virginia School of Law and at Virginia Commonwealth University. He is married to Anita Barnhart, a teacher in Hanover County Public Schools. Please join me in welcoming Judge Mark Christie.
Merhaba, our Turkish friends. My wife Anita and I have had the wonderful experience of getting to know many Turkish people, and we have a very cherish in our hearts our friendship with many Turkish people. I had the honor as a adjunct professor at VCU several years ago. I had several Turkish students who came through my class in the doctoral program, and my wife and I got to know them very personally. We were guests in their home. They also were guests in our home, and we became very close friends with them. And now that they're back in Turkey, we keep in touch with them by email and keep in touch with their lives, and we certainly hope we get to see them again. So we have cherish the friendships with Turkish people that we've developed over the years. The theme of this evening is, and by the way, I want to also mention that several years ago I had the opportunity to visit Istanbul. And if you ever get that opportunity, you really should take that. It is a fascinating city. It is a beautiful city. It is a city where literally all the cultures of the world come together. It is the crossroads of human history, and it is just an absolutely fascinating city, and we had the privilege of visiting Istanbul several years ago, and I urge any of you who have the opportunity to take advantage of that opportunity to visit Istanbul. I want to mention tonight, since the theme is peaceful coexistence, I have a parable that's relevant to that. I was afraid when Professor Osbalut spoke before the dinner, and he said he had a parable, that he was going to take my parable, and then I wouldn't have one, or I would have to make one up. Fortunately, he gave a wonderful parable, and it was not mine, which is why I was happy about that. So let me give you mine, because it relates to tonight's theme of peaceful coexistence. My parable that I want to relate is actually a parable from ancient Hindu philosophy, and it is a parable in which illustrates the importance of knowledge to human coexistence. And in the parable, on a cloudy, dark day, a man enters into a room that is dark and in shadows. And the man looks around the room, and the room, of course, is in shadows because there's not much light. And he sees hanging in the corner from the rafters a shadowy shape, long and narrow shape hanging down from the rafters. And it's an illusion, but to him it looks like, he says, oh my goodness, it is a cobra. It's a deadly snake. And he is fearful, and he is afraid. And he perceives the shadow as a threat to his safety. And so he is hostile to it, and he wants to actually find a weapon because he cannot coexist in this room with a cobra. And then the sun comes out from behind a cloud, and the light comes into the room, and he sees in the light that what he thought was a cobra, in fact, is just a rope. And it's a rope that not only does not pose any threat to him, but it is a rope that actually can be useful and helpful to him. And so the point of the ancient Hindu parable, which is you might recognize is very similar to Plato's parable of the cave, is that knowledge is light, and light removes illusion. And when illusion is removed, we see that things that were threatening before are not threatening now, because you can see them in the full light and not in the shadows. And I think that relates to the theme of this evening. So, to our Turkish friends, to our Turkish hosts, the American Turkish Friendship Association, let me finally say, Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much for that wonderful parable and your impressions. Next, I would like to invite Isabel Richmond. Isabel Richmond received her PhD from the University of Chicago Divinity School. She received her JD from DePaul College of Law. She has taught religious studies at Northwestern University, College of William and Mary, and VCU. For 7 years, she served as vice president of First Freedom Center in Richmond. Now she is a professor and co-coordinator at religious studies in VCU. Please join me in welcoming Professor Richmond.
Good evening. My name's Isabel Richmond, as it was said, and I am an instructor and chair in the Religious Studies program in the School of World Studies at Virginia Commonwealth University. Our hosts invited me to speak this evening about peaceful coexistence, the theme of our dinner. When I started looking into it, of course, I turned immediately to the internet, and a preliminary search revealed that this phrase was made famous by Nikita Khrushchev, who used it to talk about relations between the United States and Russia during the Cold War. I think that our hosts had something slightly warmer than that in mind, and I will try to take it in that direction. The Turkish-American Friendship Association and the Religious Studies program have a great deal in common. In the Religious Studies program, we seek to advance understanding of religion and religions in order to promote global understanding, cooperation, compassion, and community. The Turkish Friendship Association strives to promote mutual understanding through cultural exchange and friendship. Let me tell you the story of how I came to know our esteemed hosts. 7 years ago, out of the blue, I received an email inviting me to join an interfaith and intercultural group for a 10-day whirlwind tour through Turkey. The invitation from the Rumi Forum, the parent organization of this association, stated that if I could get myself to Istanbul on December 10, I would be their guest on my tour through the country. The invitation was a dream come true for me. Turkey had long been at the top of my list of travel destinations. But as a single mother of 2 elementary school-aged children, I had assumed that international travel was not soon to be a possibility for me. Besides, who were these people? I learned that the Rumi Forum drew its name from and inspiration from Mevlana Rumi, the 13th century Persian mystic and poet, who is much read and loved here in America. As a student of medieval Christian mysticism, I needed no further assurance. And it turned out that Rumi had once said, "With friends, you grow wings." Immediately, I resolved to grow wings of my own. Despite, however, my earnest efforts and sincere flapping, the wings would not arise from my back. So I decided instead to purchase a plane ticket. A round-trip airline ticket from Washington, D.C. to Istanbul. My then boyfriend, who knew both my children and my long-standing desire to go to Turkey, insisted that the children would be fine in his care. I therefore set off by myself and only met the other members of my group once I arrived in Washington, D.C. My fellow travelers were American Muslims, Christians, Jews, and atheists. We were accompanied by 4 or 5 of our Muslim Turkish hosts. For the next 10 days, our hosts would regale us with feasts, midnight cruises on the Bosphorus, art, music, whirling dervishes, and museum visits as we journeyed through time in Turkey, starting with the present state-of-the-art hospitals, universities, and schools, back to the 5th century and the Hagia Sophia, to the medieval Cappadocian Fathers, and then into the earliest years of Christianity, and further still to ancient Greek seaports, and in the National Museum to the Bronze Age and the Stone Age. In this ancient and wondrous country, I realized a dream that hitherto I had only imagined as I read my dusty books, and I did grow wings. The most unexpected reward of this trip was the friendship of my American and Turkish fellow travelers. Through our friendship, we learned to practice peace and love. As Rumi once said, in friendship, you transform all those who are touched by you. I have remained friends with my Turkish colleagues and American fellow travelers for nearly a decade now. But my transformation did not end with my fellow travelers. After I returned, I realized that the boyfriend who had looked after my children was also my dearest friend. And he's here with me tonight. He's my husband of 4 years now, Jeff Richmond. I will close, therefore, with some inspiring words from Rumi that I think touch on the topic of the evening. He said, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Thank you so much, and good night.
Well, thank you very much. That was very touching. Now it is time to announce the amount of money donated through the silent auction we had in the beginning. Mr. Mustafa Aydin told me that we rounded out about $525 at the silent auction, which is pretty decent. To present the check to Richmond Habitat for Humanity, I would like to invite Mr. Mustafa Aydin, who is Director of ADFA Richmond Chapter. To receive the check, I would like to invite Nancy Melton, Vice President of Development and Marketing at Richmond Habitat for Humanity. Please welcome. Welcome.
much we get a chance to contribute to you. We are so appreciative for your works. I hope they will continue.
Round of applause. A louder round of applause, please. I didn't hear that. $525, guys, louder. Are we going to show the slide now? For the picture? Okay, so ATFA organized an art contest for middle school and high school students on the topic of peaceful coexistence. Some of the artworks were exhibited during the reception, and we will have an award ceremony in our cultural center to recognize the winners. And this is the winner. This was the picture that she drew. And just admire it, I guess. Okay. And now for the closing remarks, I would like to call to the stage Delegate Joe Morrissey. He has visited Turkey with other delegates in one of our trips. He will give the concluding remarks. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to first commend the American-Turkey Friendship Association and the Rumi Forum for hosting this annual dinner. As Nahid said, I was lucky to be one of many legislators 2 years ago from West Virginia, Maryland, and the Commonwealth to visit Turkey, and we had a wonderful time. I'm also not unmindful that I think I am the 7th speaker tonight, so I will be 3 things. I will be thankful, I will be brief, and then I will be gone. We had a terrific time in Turkey. When you're talking about establishing cultural relationships and long-standing and hopefully lifelong relationships, I don't have to think any further than the wonderful time that we had in Turkey. Commissioner Christie said a few moments ago that it is a cultural melting pot, and it certainly was. We arrived in Istanbul and met some fabulous people. When I'm thinking of the 11 days that we spent there, our days were chock-a-block full from 6 or 7 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. We visited universities, we visited the National Parliament, we visited manufacturing cities. One of the things that I remember most was the resort called Gibsid, and the ancient city of Ephesus, which is now the Turkish city of Izmir. But of all of those wonderful delights, the thing that I think I remember most was watching one of 2 things. Watching Senator Marsh ride a camel and watching my colleague Delegate Jimmy Massey dance to traditional Turkish music. As I said, we had a terrific time there. I want to thank my host, Timur, and who was there, who was an absolute delight. One of the pleasures of visiting Turkey and spending time with Turkish families, dining in their home, it was meeting so many splendid people. And Timur, my hat off to you for doing a wonderful job in entertaining and keeping us all so terrifically informed of the doings of your wonderful country. Thank you very much. And thank you.
And we can go home now. Yeah, I appreciate spending a Wednesday night with all of you people. Very nice people. I have finals tomorrow or whatever, but it doesn't matter because I spent a good night with you guys. But I would appreciate if you guys fill out the forms. There's forms, maybe your ID, not your ID, your name and your email address, so we can contact you if you want us to. I mean, if you don't want us to, you don't have to write anything. But I appreciate it. Thanks one more time, and have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.